here. And then we have YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook on the desktop. And so here we go. Look at us everywhere, omnipresent. Woo! So at any time, if you have questions for Ashley, you ask them in the comments. I'm going to try to, sometimes I get so excited that I forget to look at comments, but I promise I'm not actually going to help me like look at the comments because I'm sure you're going to have questions for Ashley. So Ashley, thank you for taking the time. Hi, Hallie. The first question I have for you before we deep dive in is, who do you serve in this world?
Thank you for asking. So my heart lives and breathes for people who are going through grief and heartache and trauma and wounding, and people who feel stuck in life and career and business and divorce and really just like the pain of people. So it doesn't matter men, women, non-binary, queer, none of that matters. It's just like, do you have pain you want to walk through, and do you have a desire to live a better, more happy, fulfilling, loving life?
So yeah, this is our guest. That's such sunshine. I love how you like in your biography you sent me, you say you are a spirited repairer of broken hearts and seeker of lost souls. How is that it is for a statement? I love it. I love it. I love it. So I just love how we navigate, business with who we are, what we believe in, and our lifestyle, right? Like how we deeply embody what we believe in. And I love, love, love that. So on that note, um, tell us where you're talking from. Like I don't even know where exactly you are. You're in the US.
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. So it's like a high of 9 degrees today. So we're like, I'm so glad to sit with you and be cozy.
Okay, so good because here it's like super cold too. So let's get cozy here. We have our little candle. Okay.
Crystals.
And the crystals. I love it. So who was Ashley as a little girl? Like between 7 and 10, what were you like busy with? And how did it shape your path to what you do today?
I've never been asked this question. It's so good. So between like 7 and 10, I was this like super athletic girl. I was in a lot of sports all the time, constantly, softball, basketball, volleyball. And like one of the gifts that came through for me from childhood is people would always come to me because they needed advice, because they were struggling with something, because they wanted to fall in love, because they didn't feel good about themselves. So often I was like the space that people came to so that they could just heal something.
Wow. So what did you do at that age? Like at 7 or 10? Like what would you do to help them?
Listen, and like I actually have this really, it's like a soul gift, but I always know somehow exactly the thing that someone needs to hear in order to shift. So even as a child, I could hear their pain and I would validate the pain and just create this space for them to vent. But then it would be like, would you feel open to hearing about this? Or I have an idea. Would you be open to trying this? And now I do it every day for a living, which is like, oh, so cool.
Wow. So when do you remember the day or the time of the season when it hit you and you said, "Oh, what about I'm going to make a living out of this gift?"
Oh my god. Okay, so I didn't I didn't know. I went into my career in the nonprofit sector because I really wanted to make a difference like every single day. I wanted to do work that moved people. But what happens in the nonprofit sector is you aren't really paid well and you're expected to work nights and weekends and really hustle and grind because what matters is the mission. And I get that, but I also need to put food in the fridge, right? So I found myself in this nonprofit job where I thought I would retire there. I thought it would be the place. And I remember like it was so heavy and such a toxic environment. Like I would cry on Sundays. Like I couldn't fathom being there for another 5 days. I remember being in my yellow freaking office and having the door closed and people constantly coming to my office to like bang on the door because they needed help of some sort because I was in marketing. I did nonprofit marketing in that way and it's just like I would cry. My body would be so tense and so like, and so one day I was like, I just feel called to listen to like a podcast. Maybe I can listen to something that will just bring me back down to earth. Okay. I turn on, or I Google podcasts, and I found this podcast where it was called Living a Life with Passion. And this woman's energy like jumped out of the speakers. She was so vibrant, and she talked about coaching and holding space for people and how you could have no glass ceiling because you could be doing the work that you're meant to and serving people. And I remember sitting there like, what is this? Like, because I only had ever thought of coaches in sports, right? But instead I was like, you can do this. So I heard her podcast and immediately something shifted in my heart. It was like, maybe I could do this too. So I followed her and just started hearing more about her work and how she has a business. And then later she became my mentor and helped me actually create a business and walk me to the place that I am now, where I went from nonprofit world crying and like so burnt out and stressed and frustrated. I would get yelled at. Like it was so toxic, to I hold space for people who are ready to shift out of jobs like that, relationships like that, really just holding the space for them to find out what they want to do, who they are, where they need to heal. And so that's part of the origin story.
Oh, I love it. So, because I'm sure there are so many people who can identify, like, there's a study, I think, that came from monster.com that 95% of employees in North America wants to leave their job. So I am sure your story resonates with some people here. But tell me, like, from that yellow office and then hearing that woman, how, the transition, right? What was the biggest struggle at the time to make it happen? Like, how did you feel?
Mm.
How did it feel?
Oh my God. So being stuck in that office, because I would cry, I just felt trapped. Like, have you ever felt so trapped that you don't feel like you have any options? Like there's no, like, I have to do this forever. Like I have to go Monday through Friday and spend my time doing jobs like this. Like I couldn't fathom it. So I found out through her mentorship that like the shift happened when I felt empowered to make my own business, when I felt like I could be my own boss. And then, what happens? Business is like personal development in hyperdrive. Like you have no idea what you don't know until you're in the thick of it. Like, my
So
God. Like, I didn't know I had that fear. Oh, I have to work on being seen. I have to share a message. I have to be consistent. Oh my God. I have to put offers out there and maybe people will buy. What if people don't buy? I had a lot of mindset stuff I had to work through. Self-doubt, comparison was a huge one. Like thinking, can I actually do this? And then slowly but surely, like I got my NLP certification and then master NLP certification, master Reiki certification, master life coaching certification. I got all of the tools, but it wasn't the tools that helped me do the work. It was the tools to give me the confidence to be like, oh, actually, I was born for this. I'm made for this. And from that space, people started feeling my energy. They were like, oh, she has something to say. Oh, I'm going to listen. Oh, she's so confident. Oh, maybe because I've walked through a lot of trauma, Angelique. Like, I've walked through a lot of abuse. I was assaulted through the span of building my business. Like, I've gone through so much pain that it's like, oh, this is why I can hold people with integrity in this work, is because I know what infidelity feels like. I know what assault feels like. I know what abuse feels like. And it was the tools that helped me feel confident in order to bring this work to the world and be like, you should work with me. I'm going to hold space for you and I'm going to love you and we're going to get through it.
wow. I just love how you describe holding space for people who needs help, right? So how did you you realize all the mindset shift you had to do and stuff? So where do you start? Because you were like going through a shitty job versus all the pain you're going through personally, and then okay, building a business is about mindset as well. So how do you tackle it? Where do you start? Or does it come all together?
That's such a good question. I think honestly, I've heard this phrase where it's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's happened in every single part of my journey. When I struggled with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, comparison, I had a mentor who was like, "I can walk with you through this because I know that." When I struggled with like abuse, assault, trauma, I somehow books were recommended to me that I could dive into, right? I learned about therapy and so it's just like it's been the journey that I've been graced with the gifts of people who have walked before me who could then lead me to where I needed to go.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's Wayne Dyer that says that sentence because I think that's him. Yeah, I love it because so true, right? You have to trust that the teacher's gonna come out when you're ready. There is some nice comments here from Wild and Balanced Malas. Hello.
Oh, hi, Karen. Thank you.
I love it. So it is so beautiful, your story. So now, okay, we're there. Do you remember how did you come up with creating a solution for people? Because you know what it was to go through, you could recognize how somebody could need your help, but how do you craft the solution in a way that feels good to you and that is ready for them?
That's such a good question. I have a process. So I believe that everything that happens to me is for me. And we've heard that in the personal development space, but it really, 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 truly happens for me. Because if I can navigate the experience and process the emotion, that means I can actually hold someone through that because I know what that feels like in my nervous system. I know what that feels like in my body. So, what happens is when I navigate hardship, I will sit with it and I'll feel it. And then, what's the wisdom or the lessons? How is this helping my life? That tiny process is basically how I help people shift. I empower them with the wisdom that it's like, you're actually so powerful that you could hold this. Can you imagine what's going to happen in your life after you heal? So, and part of my work in the world is like, I can't do, you know, programs that are cookie cutter. They all have to be tailored individually because people are coming to me from different spaces and places. People are coming to me with different problems. But the solution is being held in that pain and then helping you have the tools and the resources to be able to shift out of it when you're ready.
Ooh, you're like a basket, like a vessel.
Yeah, a channel, a portal.
I love it. 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 Okay, so what is something that you remember? When was the first big payoff for you when you decided to make it a business out of that beautiful transformation you were offering to people? So, do you remember when it was? And you had that kind of confirmation, validation. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I think, well, part of it, in business, like when you receive payment, like your first payment, you're like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I did this. We did this together. Like, we had this energetic exchange. So for me, when I came out of my NLP certification, I was like, my life coaching certification was wrapped into it. I was like, oh my God, I can do this. Like, let's go. So I started offering breakthrough sessions. They were 90 minutes, they were $555. And together we would focus on like one thing that they were working through. And I remember my first client, like, she paid, and I was like, everyone, I have arrived. And then I got to hold space for her. And I just like, we were in it together. And after she sent me, like, you moved me. Like, I feel so much lighter. I feel so much more freer. I feel like I can handle this. And in that moment, it's like, I want to do this every single day for the rest of my life. Like, if money were no object, I literally would eat, sleep, and breathe this every single day because that in and of itself was the magic that my heart needed, the belief that I needed. It's like, of course I can do this. Look what happened
Wow.
in that space, right?
Wow. When was that?
That was like 3 years ago. And like full transparency for people, when you look at the personal development industry, coaching industry, it's like, oh my God, people are making $1 million months or they're in business full time in their business in like 6 months. For me, it's taken me 4 years to get here. And I'm so grateful that it took me that long because there was a lot of lessons, a lot of mindset stuff that I needed to have in order to be here now. Because if I didn't walk through that, my nervous system would be panicking.
I love that. So true. Yeah, that's the long-term game, right?
For a
Yeah,
lifetime of this work.
yeah, 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 because we don't even imagine to stop it. Once you discover that power you have in helping others, like there is no way you can go back.
Like, and you make your own money and you have your own schedule and there's no glass ceiling. Like, oh my God.
So, through your entrepreneurial journey, so you kind of started to talk about money. How did your perception of money change, would you say?
One of the biggest things that I know is so hard for most people when they go into business is the shift from employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset. For me, the thing that helped me leave my job and go full time in my business last year, so I've been full time for 1 year. Yeah, I know, right? Snaps.
Wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That was
Thank
the
you.
part I was so curious about because I'm still, a full-time employee too. Yeah. So that's so fascinating.
And like there's no shade to being employed and being your own business owner. Like I think it's so beautiful. It's just honoring what you want to do. For me personally, like my one of my biggest values outside of love is freedom. I need to feel free. So what would that look like? I need to feel free in my business so that I can be fully expressed. And the way that my mindset got me there was I launched these packages, I had clients, and I basically built a safety net so that I could make the leap and be able to be like, okay, this is my burn rate amount. Like I have this much amount. If I make no money in these amount of months, okay, you know what? Like I'm not going to quote unquote fail because I don't believe in failure. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, well, I have to get a job for a little bit in order to supplement my dream. So
Yeah.
the safety net is helpful. And, I always wanted to be in a space where like I'm never offering anything from my heart from a place of lack, desperation, or scarcity. That energy is a match, and I do not need that. I always wanted it to be like, I'm safe, I'm abundant, I've got this. If you feel called to my energy in this work and you're ready, I've got you.
I noticed that you say that a lot on social media, and I really admire you for that. If you invite people to feel your energy online, which is very rare, and you do it so beautifully because it is a matter of connecting with each other's energy. And even in that interview, I can hope you can feel that energy. I feel it.
I really let that land. Thank you so much. Oh, that means so much to me. And like, it's the joy, right? Like, when you love what you do, it's like, "Oh my
Yes.
god, let's do this all the time."
Yeah. And by the way, I told you the pixelization thing is gone. You see? You made it
R
go. Okay. So, uh, what is one thing you thought was true, but that was proven wrong after opening up your business and after a few years of practice and now being full-time entrepreneur? What is the one thing that you thought was true, but that was proven wrong to you?
I think because I built this over a span of 4 years, it was like proving it to myself, but I thought, the employee mindset is different, especially in corporate, because in corporate, it's hustle and pressure and tense and burnout and productivity, and I thought after 4 years that, when I shifted full-time into my business, I would feel like, I've made it. Oh god, I have arrived. Like this is great. I feel so good. Like I'm spacious. I can take naps if I want. I go for walks for lunch. But that wasn't true. So what I've learned, and especially over the year of being full time, is like I still have to really honor my nervous system. I am so emotionally addicted to pressure and to like stress that and to overwhelm, that's my natural response. So when things aren't happening the way I think they should in business or the way that I think timelines should happen, I still have to retrain my nervous system. I still have to breathe. I still have to be present. I really have to take care of myself because I am the business. I am the income generator. I am the healer. But when you've been in corporate and nonprofit and that's the thing your nervous system is used to, just because you go full time into business and you can have naps and stuff doesn't mean it's going to change automatically, sadly.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful testimonial here. I love this. Yeah. And then, so the biggest fear you have, what is it?
Okay. My biggest fear is that I won't make the impact that I truly desire to make with all of the gifts that my heart wants to bring to the planet. Meaning, like, this is why I'll never give up. This is why this is the journey of my lifetime. Spam risk. Because I just want to help so many people. I want to free their souls. I want to heal their hearts. I want them to live a life that they're so madly, profoundly, deeply in love with. And I'm just afraid that, like, if I fail, if I like leave the earth too soon, that I won't make the impact that like my heart really, really wants to make.
Well, that's funny you say that, Ashley. Sometimes I have those thoughts, and nobody else told me that before, that they think they're gonna die too soon. They won't have time to finish the work. I'm glad you say it, because sometimes it comes, I'm like, why are you thinking like that? But okay, you do that too. Okay. It's like
Of
we have
course.
a lot of work to do.
A lot of love.
Yeah. Oh, we have a lot of hearts in our Instagram here. Hello, hello, hello.
Thank you for joining us. It means the world to have your energy with us. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Okay, I have a few more questions because I know it's the evening. What time is it where you are, by the way?
5:35.
Oh, it's 7:35 here. Okay, cool. I love it. We are international. Okay, so what is your relationship with social media?
Oh my God, I love it. Like,
Yeah.
I love it, and I need to have boundaries around it because, like, so my business is solely built on relationships and referrals and having people be attracted to my energy. So I'm obsessed with social because I literally get to like connect with people and women like you across the world. You know, like I have clients in Russia and South Africa and England and all these places that I would have never met if it wasn't for social. I have a platform of women and men who will find me and be like, you said this and it resonated to my bones. And it's like, oh my God, well, thank you so much, social media. Like, that's so cool.
I know. Yeah. Oh my God. You are living proof of that. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Yeah. And please follow Ashley on Instagram, Ashley.Mondor, because you see, she's like that. And you bring us like on the beach and everywhere. I love it. I love it. I love it. So now tell me, on days that is like you would qualify the best day, a good day, what is, on day you feel exactly how you want to feel every day, basically, what do you do, eat or have or say, like, do you have like some stuff that if you do this or have this, or that works even better?
Oh my God, 1,000%. So, a thing that I have that I think everyone should do in the morning, it's called gratitude stacking. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm going to explain from a neuro like scientific reason why. In the morning, right when I'm conscious and I wake up, I literally, and it's on like automatic. I say, "Oh my God, I'm so grateful for this pillow. Oh my God, I'm so grateful because I get to see Angelique today. I'm so like appreciative that I have the freedom to have no freaking alarm. I'm so grateful that like I get to work out and move my body in a little bit. Like so I stack gratitude in that way because I am the one who generates the feelings within my body first, and I am tasking my brain to look for other reasons, other things, other experiences in my life in that day to be grateful for. And it's free. Like
It's free. There
and
is no
so
app for this, it's there.
and I know like it can sound so trivial, but like I I literally live the life of my dreams because even when I was in a toxic job I couldn't stand, working for someone who really sucked the soul from my body, what helped me get through it was like gratitude. Grateful that I get to wake up and breathe today. Grateful that I get to roll over and look at my partner in the face, like the man that I've been dreaming and waiting for and trying like to become the energetic match for. Like I get to wake up next to him. I have this like home where I can take a freaking nap. I have plants surrounded by me. And I sound like, oh, she's so joyful. But I do that even through like the really heavy stuff, even when I was assaulted, right? It's like, I'm so grateful I made it through that. And starting your day with gratitude in that way is next level because it's yours, because you're training your brain, because you're showing yourself the good, the magic, the moment of being present in your power is like, and it's yours. So I do that. I also drink a whole ton of water. And if I can, I will dance or I will have a movement routine or I'll do yoga because moving your body moves energy. And then when I feel good about myself, like when you work out, you're like, I am literally a fox on this planet. Like, oh my God. When you're from that place, you show up differently in life. You show up differently for your clients, right? So
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I hope you guys take a lot of notes because it's so true. We need to cultivate who we are, right? And I love that you do that in the morning because I do that at night. So good. I'm going to try the morning thing with my pillow.
yes. Oh, I have another one for you if you're curious.
Yeah.
Okay. So at night, so morning, gratitude. At night, I visualize like the most beautiful things that I'm calling in my life. So like the 10K consecutive months, the podcast I can't wait to be on, the travel experiences I want to go to. I visualize also like the comments that people say to me, like the testimonials, like, oh my God, you moved me. Oh my God, this session with you changed my life. I can't wait to have you meet my sister. I visualize that because it's training your brain that it's safe to receive more money, to go on the experiences, to have these clients, right? Like it's safe to receive and you're training your brain. Also, visualization is incredible because if like freaking athletes can be paid millions of dollars to visualize the win, we can visualize our life.
Definitely. Oh, wow. That's a good way to closure that talk. I love it. We can figure that out. So, Ashley, thank you so much for your time. But tell me, is there something I didn't ask that I should have asked and you want to share with us?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why do you do the work that you do? Why is it so
Oh,
compelling to your heart?
yeah. So, it's funny because I've been reflecting a lot about it lately. And I think it comes to a circle. I'm 46. And you know how they say, don't, one of the belief I work is don't worry about the how, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything started for me when I was a little girl. I was in France at the time. We lived on a farm, right? And I was living spending my time when I was not at school. I was in the field, and there was a little forest and a lake, and I had a special sacred space that I could only bring special friends there. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was very limited that way at the time. And then I only brought my cats and my dogs. And there in that little sacred space, I didn't call it that way at the time, but I think it was very spiritual. I had that connection that I could save the world. Just that. And then so I was like, oh, I need to be an international mediator or maybe a journalist. I need to report about what's going on between those countries. I was so sad about wars, and it was during the Iraq stuff. It was like I would cut newspaper and put presidents face to face, I was talking to them to stop the war, and really it was intense. And
My heart. Oh my God.
and then I became a journalist. A TV journalist, and so still in the field, I was like, when I'll be old, I'll go to Canada, because in my head as a little girl, I thought Canada was the wisdom place. I don't know, don't even quote me on that. That's what I thought at the time. Okay. But I arrived to Canada to be a TV reporter. So all my dreams were collecting, without, and then being a TV reporter, I got to interview so many women leaders, and I was behind the camera asking questions. And a lot of time I could hear myself, wow, how does she dare to say that? How, she knew she would be on TV, the night, thousands of people watching. And I was very narrative. I was like, wow, I asked a question, she answered. And then sometimes it was very controversial. And I'm like, wow, how do you do that? For me, I was putting all the people I was interviewing, especially women, on a pedestal. Oh, wow. And then at some point, I felt that, I wanted to share my story and have my own media platforms. And then life made this happen. I lost my job. things happen that you don't know why at the moment, but after that, it all makes sense, right? And then, so kind of like, okay, because people cut my job, then I'm going to make my own job. So this is where I started with entrepreneurship, right? And then I realized that, like you, oh, we need marketing. What is that thing? Oh, visible.
So
So
true.
that was like 11 or 12 years ago. And then I said, oh my God, I'm going to have to learn. Another thing is I was in personal development a lot as well at the time. And I'm like, oh, another thing to learn. And then at the time I was sharing with a friend, and she said, well, you know what? There is a job in an organization to be a paid media strategist for social media. And I'm like, great. I don't know anything about social media. But she said, oh, you can transfer everything else you've done in your life and convince them that you are the candidate. So I went, they took me. But here's what happened. I fell in love with the idea that you could communicate a message online, and I saw the power of it. And then all those women I interviewed, I'm like, oh my God, TV is done. Like this is massive transformation. And then women entrepreneurs would start to come and see me. They knew I was in the social media world, and they would say, like, could you help me sell my stuff? Could you help me share my message? And I started to play with it. And I realized that women that I was admiring so big were so scared to share their message online. And this is where everything makes sense. The journalist in me, the PR person in me, and then that thrive of you are who you are, and you should be proud and share it anywhere online. And there is no limit. As soon as you have the connection, you are your own media. And if you have an amazing message and you want to influence people, impact their lives, here we go. So that's why I do what I do. I love helping women to share their message and make money with it.
My God, I feel you. Like your passion is palpable, like, and your fire for it is just like, oh, thank you for the work that you do, truly. And like, of all the times in our history to be a woman on the planet with a platform, like in your power, to be you, fully you, like, so thank you for the work.
It's just, we don't realize, like, when you take a step back, it's like, it's massive. Yeah. Anybody, whether your skin, your sex, your whatever, as long as you have a connection, anything can happen.
And we need them, right? Like we need you. Like we are all pieces of a puzzle that make up one. So we need that.
Yeah. And there is room for everybody, by the way. If someone says something else, like, oh, there is so much noise, no, there is not. There is noise, and then there is you. Right?
Yes. And there's noise in your brain, and then it's like, but what's true?
Yeah.
I get to take up space. I get to be seen.
Yeah. Okay, wow. I didn't expect that the question would be on me at the end. So I love it because I never get to share a lot. Thank you. Thank you for asking. You're so sweet. Oh my God, it was such a pleasure. Thank you for all of you being there. And if you're watching the replay, or it's going to be a podcast after as well, like, just reach out to Ashley on Instagram, ashley.mondor. Or if you don't know where to find anything, just send me a DM and I'll connect you with Ashley. Thank you so much, so much, so much.
Thank you. You're the best.
You are. Okay. I'm just going to say goodbye to Insta, and then bye-bye here on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. Ciao.